Hello and Merry Christmas, YouTube. It's another Sunday in the Quarterdeck Arcade. Back from a 1-week hiatus last week. I had too much going on, way too much. So you know how it is this time of year. You're running around, you're doing stuff, and plus I've had some physical issues that I've been dealing with. So last week I needed a break, so took that break. I'm back now. And we're here. It's not like anything really happened in the home arcade community, right? I mean, nothing. It's been boring. No news, nothing. So anyway, I'm here. I did not go to the gym today, so I spent pretty much all morning since about 4 a.m. this morning down here in the arcade doing some cleaning. There's a lot of stuff piling up that I needed to sort through and box up and break up, and so I've got it to a point where I'm happy with it. So everything's clean. Well, not everything yet. I got a couple of things I still want to do, but that's going to require the assistance of another person. So we'll see. Today on today's show, what I have for you is another fine GRS Build-A-Cade. I've made note of that in the stream description, and there are also links in there for all the parts and pieces that I'm using for today's build. So if you want to, if you're interested in building one of these yourself, you can go out there and purchase it for your own GRS Build-A-Cade. I'm a big fan of the GRS Build-A-Cade. Glenn and his staff over there have created a really, really great product for a miniature arcade display. And as you guys know, and seen on my past streams, I've built many of them on stream live. And my whole display over here is well lit and ready to go. And it's ready to receive a nice new companion. We're going to build a GRS track and field unit today. So hop on along for the ride. Merry Christmas to everybody. I hope you're having a great warm up to your holidays. It's really weird weather here in Wisconsin. We had a big thaw, so the 10 inches of snow that we had on the ground is pretty much gone except for the piles. And we've had some warm days last week, went back down into the teens and single digits for a day or two. Yesterday, we were back up into the 40s, so we got a little bit more melting. And then today, we're back down in the single digits. So very weird Wisconsin weather. Last 3 years, we've had it pretty mild. So we've had it pretty good. This year, it started off early with getting socked with snow. So anyway, I am on vacation for the next 2 weeks. So I have 2 weeks off that I'm available to come down here and refamiliarize myself with the arcade. I feel like I haven't been down here in forever. So, and in fact, I haven't been down here for so long, I had to relog into my at-game stuff, and you all know what that's like. So, yes. Anyway, let's take a look at the chat, see who's here, say hi. They Be Me chimed in earlier, says that track and field is a cabinet I would own if I could. Great choice for the artwork for a Build-A-Cade. Yes, that was always on my list. I realized that the screen orientation of the game is not correct for the vertical monitor that the Build-A-Cade has, but it is what it is. I realize Glenn is also working on a kit to rectify that situation. So when that happens, I have two Build-A-Cades that I want to put in the correct monitor orientation. That would be the Robotron and now the track and field. So, but I'm going to get it. I'm going to skin it with the track and field artwork because I think that's a beautiful looking cab and I'd like to have it on my display. Stock Jock is here. Good to see you, Stock Jock. Yes, that top piece. Well, what I discovered last time I built one of these was that if you do follow the directions, because what I'd been doing is I'd been putting the base in first for stability. When you do that, you lose the wiggleability, is that a word? Of getting that top piece in correctly. So putting the top piece in correctly first is a lot easier before you put in that bottom piece. So we're going to follow the directions again. Stock Jock, by the way, just to let you know, I did get a shipping notification on my G.I. Joe Build Choice cabinet. It's on its way, although for the last couple of days, it's been stuck in label printed status. So I don't have any current shipping status on it. I don't know where it is. It's on its way. So yay me. Kind of hoping it would get here by Christmas, but I don't think it will. Maybe it will. Who knows? I'm home anyway, so I'm here to get it. So anyway, Ted Adam Green is here. Always good to see you, Ted. Happy holidays to you and yours as well. Let's see. Yes, please, let's not do any of that. If I see any of that in the chat, folks, you're gone. Okay? No discussion. Oh, you're going to be up my way? Cool. You got to let me know when that happens. You know, with all the weather the way it's been, Stock Jock, we're like, okay, how soon can we move down there? Yeah, I got a lot of stuff I got to go through and throw away. As you guys know, having these home arcades, you build up parts over time, and you kind of don't want to let them go because you might use it some other day. But my rule of thumb is if I don't use a part or a piece in 6 months, I'm throwing it away. So Prince Vinny is here. Good to see you. Good to see you. Davey Me, are you talking about the former Grand Avenue? I haven't been in there since they've done all the renovations. I know the third floor used to have a bunch of, when it was a mall, used to have a bunch of food choices, but since all of the renovation on the first floor there, I haven't been in there. So hopefully it's nice. But I would like to go to the MGC. I'll probably be there on Saturday. Robot Ron is here. Good to see you. I'll get into more of this when I move over to the build table, but I had to choose what GRS control panel I wanted to use for my build today. It's a 3-button game, basically. No joystick. Well, as you know, the GRS Build-A-Cade has several different control panel choices you can choose from. The one I eventually settled down and I'm going to go with is the trackball control panel that also has 3 buttons. So there are some variations of the track and field arcade game that actually do use the trackball. So I'm curious to see if the ROM and controller configuration will see the trackball. If it doesn't, that image that I put on that Build-A-Cade SD card has trackball games on it, so it can double as a trackball game player as well. But it does have the 3-button configuration for 2 runs and a jump button. So that's what we're going to do today. Sir Sega is here. Good morning, Sir Sega. Davey Me says we can get all 4 seasons in a week. That is very true. That is very true. Biggie D is here. Welcome. B. Kirby is here. Congratulations to your Chicago Bears. My Packers pretty much dominated the game really until here's the thing. The Bears late in games have had a comeback streak that is just amazing. Okay. The Packers, however, they have that, and they fall into this quite a bit, but they start out really great, and then it just they just get really tired towards the end. It happens every year with the Packers. Other NFL teams, I'm sure, but the strength that the Bears have this year is that they seem to really get good in the third and fourth quarter. And how many comeback wins have they had this year? I forget, but my gosh, I did not watch the game. I went to bed early again, but I did read up on it. Yay, Stock Jock. Okay, well, I hope to see you then. PBJ Racing is here. Happy holidays. Happy holidays. Thank you, Big D. I appreciate the kind comment. Pretty much, yeah. The Bears just seem to know how to navigate the fourth quarter of games, and you kind of need that in this league, really. I think the Bears are going to go far in the playoffs, if not the Super Bowl. And that's hard for me to say as a Packers fan. But I recognize good teams, and the Bears have a good team this year. So, all right, we're through the chat now. Hang on, I got to check my watch because, got reminded of my PT appointment. That's another thing, guys. I'm going through physical therapy right now. You guys know I'm very physically active. I do a lot of running. Well, that pounding has affected me greatly. I have what they're referring to as a stuck left SI joint. Just to describe it, you got that little triangle in your pelvis where the see, I'm going to screw this up because I'm not a medical professional, but where your hip joints connect to the triangle, there's a little joint there, and it's called the SI joint. Well, my left one got stuck. I've had this pain in that area for months, going all the way back to June or July during my marathon training, and it affected me during my marathon race. And about 3 weeks ago, I said, enough is enough. I got to go see somebody about this. So I did. I saw my doctor first just to get his opinion and get an x-ray done. X-ray only confirmed natural age-related degeneration. So nothing really broken there or cracked or anything to worry about. But so he said physical therapy would be good for you. So I did. I went to Athletico. Shout out to them. A really knowledgeable person named Luke has been helping me out. I've had about 6 or 7 appointments now, and it's feeling better. But I am glad I've got a stand-up desk here for the stream desk now, because I feel better standing up than I do sitting down. And if I sit down for any long period of time, I'm hurting. So I will be sitting down for the build over there, and don't be surprised if I stand up for a little bit to stretch from the time to time. It's just a part. First of all, it's a part of running. It's a running injury, kind of. I've basically it has to do with my running stride, and I need to make adjustments to how I run. There is, believe it or not, there is a technique to running. If you do it wrong, you can risk injury, and it's possible you can risk injury. Not everybody does. So apparently, I have a stride that is stiff, and I need to loosen it up a little bit. Need to lift my knees up a little bit, open the stride up, and so that's what we're going to work on. But I'm doing okay. I'm still running. Yesterday I ran 12 miles, so it's not prevented me from doing any running. I am wearing an SI belt now to help keep things aligned. But yeah, last weekend, it was part of my decision for not streaming. I wasn't feeling too great Sunday, so I just tried to relax. Prince Vinny has a good question here. What's my cabinet that I go to a lot? Well, since I built Time Crisis, I've been playing Time Crisis a lot. A lot of times when I build a cabinet, I spend a lot of time with that cabinet over several days, couple weeks, and then I start migrating back to my other cabinets. But some of my favorite cabinets in here, well, I like the At Games Legends Ultimate, which has coin ops on it. So I play a lot of Robotron on there. I play my 4KP all the time. I play Gorf on my Defender Partycade. Um, and I always go back to the 80s favorites, the Galaga, the Pac-Man, the Miss Pac-Man on the class of 81 on the other side. Just it goes week to week on what I pick as a favorite cabinet, but I try to move around a lot. Biggie D went hiking. I saw your post. Looks beautiful out there. I'm not much of a hiker, but the gal and I were actually talking about this yesterday. I said we need to do more hiking. We have a hiking forest, a state forest nearby. I mean, within less than 5 minutes away. And I told her, I said, we need to do a hike there. We need to. They do a first day hike on January 1st every year. And one year I did that hike. It had just snowed several inches. And let me tell you, that was the most beautiful scenery I've seen, winter scenery I've seen in quite a while doing that hike. And I would love it if it would snow again on New Year's Eve. So we could go do that hike. The answer to that question is yes, 12 miles on a treadmill. Now it helps because I have my gal is also a runner. So that's our Saturdays. We have a gym date on Saturday morning. So she'll be on a treadmill next to me. I'll be on a treadmill, and I use Zwift, which is a virtual running environment and biking environment. And I use Peloton classes to help keep my mind engaged during that long run. So, but it is doable. I've actually run 20 miles on a treadmill in one session. So I realize it's not for everybody, but okay. So we all know about Arcade 1-Up. The parts and pieces of it have been sold to Basic. Fun, great. Let's move forward. Let's see what they do. I'm anxious to see what their next cabinet will be. I'm pretty sure they're going to come out with the money makers first, so expect to see another Pac-Man. That's my opinion. Expect to see another Pac-Man version. What I'd like to see them do right away is another Miss Pac-Man, a blue Miss Pac-Man, a proper Miss Pac-Man. So, but I would also like to see them do something new. But they got to come out with the money makers first. They got to build. They got to get value for their investment. So I'll give them some grace on that. I think they've earned it. So let them do it. I realize there's probably going to be people that are going to complain about another Pac-Man, but it's been said before by many other folks on YouTube. It's just their money makers. It's their primary sellers. So, I mean, if you own that business, wouldn't you want to make money? So if they're going to make money off it, let them do it, so that they can make the stuff for us in the community. I don't know. I don't know, Biggie D. I think it'll probably be similar, but let's hope that they've heard the community's complaints and they incorporate some of the changes that we'd recommend that they do. But again, it's all about cost. So I'm and this was talked about, I think it was on Arcade Insiders the other night. Some folks are really into the deluxes. if you haven't noticed by now, I'm a deluxe guy. I just like the size of them. They're easy to move around. XL, I had one XL, I had two XLs. I had the Golden Tee XL and I had the Pac-Man XL. I I just felt like they weren't my size. Now they're close. They're about as close as you're going to get to a real size cabinet, and they kind of look like real size cabinets. But for my arcade, I think I'm going to stick with the deluxe line. So, all right, I'm not going to beat around the bush. Arcade One Up being sold is one of the big things this week. I'm not a news channel, so um, I just want to give you my 2 cents on it. I kind of took the week off. There's multiple reasons for me taking the week off last week. I didn't want to really have a stream last week speculating about Arcade One Up, and but yeah, the GI Joe cab is coming. I'm looking forward to that, and that'll probably be another marathon live stream build because I'm not familiar with GI Joe's methods of constructing cabinets. So we're gonna learn about it together, and that's what I like to do. You guys know that. I like to do live builds, so I figure this stuff out real time. And if I like what I see, well, I'm going to buy his Robotron when he comes out with it, no matter what. So anyway, I'm not going to beat around the bush. Let's go ahead and head over to the build table. I'm going to switch mics, which I haven't done yet. I haven't even turned it on yet. I did Biggie D. I'm doing the same thing Stock Jock did, which was the Donkey Kong Jr. And the reason being, I think it's the same reason Stock Jock did, was because I had more nostalgia for Donkey Kong Jr. than I did for the main the first Donkey Kong. So I also have a lot of nostalgia for Popeye. So if I were to get another build choice cabinet from him, I'd probably go with Popeye first and then Donkey Kong. So I realize that's probably backwards for some people, but all right, let's switch over here. Switch mics. Testing 1, 2, 3. Yep. All right, I can move this out of the way. Let's pull up a camera view here. First of all, let's get a look at the arcade. So I did reorient a camera, camera one, which I refer to it as camera one, but I moved it down a little bit to aim down. I'm running out of space to do builds, people. My arcade is, and it's a good problem to have. My arcade's getting full. So what I need to do is go back to having a build area outside of the arcade and then moving it into the arcade when I'm done, because there's just the area that I have to build things these days is very slim. So today I went with a short table, and this is basically at the position at the entrance of my arcade. So I just thought it would be simple. Before I move into the build, though, I do want to tell you that for a while now, I've had 3 quarter arcades still in the box, and it's bugging me that I haven't pulled them out of the box yet and put them on display. I want to try my hand at making a review video again. So after the show today, I'm probably going to shoot some B-roll and work on cutting a video and review together. I'm going to start with one. I'll probably start with Lunar Lander because it's my favorite, one of my favorite all-time arcade games from back in the day. I have Kicks, I have Elevator Action, and I have Lunar Lander. I also realized that there have already been about 20 review videos on these machines. Why do you need to hear my opinion? Well, it's just another opinion. I have purposefully not watched anybody's review, and that's not a slight. Not taking away from those content creators. I just don't want to taint my own view and commentary of those cabinets. So I have a little outline here that I want to follow for B-roll. So what my technique's going to be is I'm going to shoot the B-roll, all the video footage that I need for the video. And then I'm just actually going to try and script a review. There's a couple ways I've done videos in the past. I've actually done audio as I'm doing things in the video. It's kind of easier that way because the audio is already there. You don't have to re-record it later. This time I'll have to record or lay down the audio after I cut together the B-roll. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'll start with one. If I do well with that, then I'll do the other two. And I might go back and review the Burger Time and the two Space Invaders too. I also, just to let you know, guys, I've decided to sell the Pong pub table, and I'm giving a very good deal on it, $200. So if you're local in the Milwaukee area, you want a Pong pub table, message me. The email address is in the channel description. So the Pong pub table is up for grabs for $200. I will say it has a little chip on the tabletop. That's one of the reasons I'm cutting the price quite a bit, because for me, it's all about the artwork and the fact that that little chip exists on the surface of the Pong pub table. Yeah. So the other thing is I'm selling my two basic fun countercades. Don't want them. Don't need them. I need the space for quarter arcades. So I figure I might let both of them, that's the Centipede and the Tempest basic fun units, I might let them both go for $250. So, or $125 each, which is a big discount from buying them new. So those three things I'm thinking about getting rid of. Danny's here. Welcome, Danny. Good to see you. All right. Well, message me. The address is thequarterdeckarcade@gmail.com. Just scrolling back through the chat. The Kirby's going to get the do the Popeye cab. I'm glad you got your notification. Let me know if it's gone beyond the printed label stage. Mine hasn't yet. I haven't checked. I didn't check yet this morning. Let's see what else. Sir Sega's here. Good to see you. All right. I don't know because I haven't even opened the box yet. It's going to be a part of my video, Doc Jock. You're asking about the USB cable, so I'll find out when I open it up today. All right, let's get them moving. I'm going to change the camera view once again. Cell phone and cam 1. All right. Okay. Bring my water and my glasses. Also, guys, I learned almost immediately after the Time Crisis build 2 weeks ago that I'd forgotten to put 2 B screws back in. So I got to open that up and finish that off. I won't do it on stream today, but. Oh, you know what I forgot, guys? I forgot my tablet, and I won't be able to track the chat. All right, B Kirby, that's good. Okay, so I don't feel as bad. So maybe UPS is just behind. I can't believe for you and I, it will take very long to get here because it's just coming from Michigan. So, okay, guys, I'm going to run upstairs, grab my tablet so I can track the chat while I'm doing this. Be right back. All right. So apparently G.I. Joe's been busy. He's gotten several cabinets. So yeah, you're probably right. They're probably going to get dropped off tomorrow. Be nice if they still got here, on Wednesday. That'd be a good thing. My gal's got to work on Christmas Day, so maybe I should, if it gets here in time, maybe I should do a live stream build of that on Christmas Day. I don't know. I'll think about it. Okay. So, like I said, a little bit different scenery here because I'm wanting to. I'm going to think of where to put my water so it's out of the way. All right, so we're going to build. Many of you have probably already seen me do this. I'm just checking my camera angles here. I think I'm all right. Top of my head's getting cut off, but I don't care. I don't care. You guys want to see what's on here anyway. So main components, GRS Build-A-Cade. This is the kit that you buy off of thunderstickstudios.com, p6.com. I forget what the exact website name is. Sorry, Glenn. I probably should know that by now since I've bought like 12 of these from you. Yes, I'm kind of obsessed. I love these little things. They're great projects, especially on a snowy winter day, which it isn't here today. But so we're gonna do this. Set this down here for now. All right, this is artwork from. This is artwork that I recently ordered from Escape Pod Online. This is not Joe Zabo, okay? So it's a little bit different application. Joe Zabos are kind of a harder vinyl, plastic-like cover. These are more vinyl, flexible vinyl, and so you're going to be using tape to apply these to the side panels. But we have our track and field artwork, which I think is just gorgeous. The nice thing about Escape Pod is he gives you several control panel choices. So 4 different ones. So we're going to go with this one today, right here, second one from the bottom, which is 3 buttons, player 1 start, player 1. And then we're going to go with a trackball. And then he gives you the bezel, and then the coin door cover. So, and then you've got your marquee replacement here. Just to give you kind of a preview of what I might have coming in the future, here's X-Men artwork. So I do have another Build-A-Cade ready to go, and I think that'll be my next one. I do have a 4th one, but I don't have I have another GRS kit behind that. and I don't know if the back panel is bad or not. So I may have to buy another. And Glenn has been having a 20% off sale site-wide, so I might pick up another couple of the Build-A-Cades just to have them on hand. So yeah, this is a future build, the X-Men artwork. And the only reason I had it out here is because I got both from Escape Pod online at the same time, and I wanted to lay them flat, get them going. So I'm just going to set this aside, the X-Men artwork. I don't need that right now. And I'm currently flattening the Donkey Kong Jr. artwork for the G.I. Joe cabinet as well. All right. So what I'm going to do is basically cut the artwork sheet into sections, just for space reasons. Although he put the marquee straight in the middle between the two side panel artwork pieces. I'll be very careful. All right, so we have our marquee piece, two side panel pieces. Just want to get rid of as much backing paper as possible. All right, I got my garbage bag. My contractor garbage bags are a must-have in this hobby, especially if you do a lot of build work. And other parts and pieces that we have, obviously you need your Raspberry Pi 3B, folks. I'll hold it up here for the camera. So many of you have probably already worked with these. Don't mind if you have, I don't know if you've checked. I've got a link to the Amazon store for Raspberry Pis. They're now like up to $55. You can see the price tag on here. When I bought this, it was only $35. So the price of Pis has gone up significantly since I bought these, and I'm kind of glad I bought these when I did. Oh, live chat. What happened? I'm going to go back in here. There we go. Yeah, Kix is kind of addicting. I kept this out just to show you guys. This is the 4 control panel kit from GRS. These are great to have if you do a lot of these GRS builds, just so you have choices on your control panels. Because what's included in this box is your trackball controller, your dual joystick controller, which is great for a Robotron skin cab. Then you got your spinner controller, and then you just got a standard 3-button controller. Now I thought about going with this for track and field, but I thought, no, I'm going to throw a trackball in for more choices. So I'm going to go with the trackball controller for this build. And I already have it here. I took it out of another build that it was a test build that I had done, and I tested this controller. So this is the controller we're going to use. And the reason why I chose it as well is because on the just the plain 3-button, the 3 buttons are actually at the top of the control panel, whereas with this one, they're in the middle. So I think it's a better fit for the track and field skin cab. And one thing I'm not entirely sure about is this comes with, there are 2 cables that go to the trackball controller. One is the data cable, and one is I believe is just a power cable. And it's USB, so I got to believe it goes into one of the Pi USB ports. I don't have the original documentation of the control panel, so I'm going to look for that, but I ran out of time. So I have this for show. And we talked about the Pi, so we need that, and we need the control panel. Got my tools and my power source. Okay. So let's get to it. Again, I did not unpack the box because everybody likes to see it from start to finish. It's a beautifully packed, though. Speaking of spending too much money, I spent a lot yesterday, guys. I bought a new laptop computer for the home office upstairs. And I kind of went big. I like power, so the more power, the better. I got a new Lenovo. It's classified as a gaming laptop, although I don't know how much gaming I'm going to be doing on it. But I spent a lot of money yesterday. I need to replace a 10-year-old tower that's getting old. So anyway, we have our box here. Just making sure y'all can see it okay. Looks like it. So we have original control panel or original side art that you could use if you want. And then we have our side panel. We have our, I recognize these pieces now. This is our marquee light panel, which kind of slides in towards the top. With every kit, you get your SD card. And you also get an adapter so that you can load the, if you're writing images of SD cards, which I do, you can use this in your SD card port to build that image. I don't use these, so I'll set it aside as an extra part. Here is the 4.3-inch DSi display monitor for the arcade. That takes care of layer one. Let's throw these pieces away right away. Again, standard artwork. We're not going to use that, so we're just going to set it aside. And here's our other side panel. And all of these panel pieces are labeled. So if you look right here, this is a G panel. The first side panel is part A. They all come with letter classification. This is a bracket kit for the monitor, which we'll use early on in the build process. This here is your DSi ribbon cable. Or no, this is your SD card extension cable. So this one end plugs into the Raspberry Pi, the other end plugs into the back panel. And that's how, so you can load and unload your SD card from the outside. You don't have to open up the cabinet, which is really nice. The only thing I will say about these extension cables is you got to be very careful that you don't crimp them while you're putting the back panel into place or otherwise damage them, because I did that in my first build and I wound up having to buy extras. And that's the nice thing about GRS Build-A-Cade. Glenn lets you buy parts and pieces if you need to. So we've got our cable package here, our main wire harness for the unit. That's layer 2. Really love the packaging of these boxes. Glenn did a really fine job. Our parts package with various screws, which we'll open up here in a second. Another monitor bracket. Here you have your rubber feet, your ball top, and your desk covers for the control panel. We're not going to need ball tops because this isn't going to be that kind of control panel. We have our coin door. So these buttons are active. So you plug it into the wiring harness and it's a part of the unit. So these are always very tricky. Devastator Omega, welcome to the stream, by the way. I don't know how these are mass produced wherever GRS produces their kits. So all the parts and pieces, they probably are 3D printed, but don't quote me on that. Glenn can comment on it on the production process. Check out some of his videos on the product as well. I'm sure he goes further into the actual build process of these. But they come in this nice kit, and some of them might be able to be. He may have the part of the files that you need to print off some of the pieces. I know that if you're going to make this a Nintendo style cabinet, those parts are 3D printed. Like you buy the art kit, the Nintendo style art kit from Josebo. Josebo prints those pieces off for you so you can snap them in, and they snap right into place. So this here is a battery cover holder or a battery holder for the base of the unit. Funny how I recognize all of these parts and pieces. Here we have our marquee pieces that hold the marquee into place. And here is the original control panel, which we're not going to use. This is a spare part. We're actually going to use this control panel. So we're going to set this aside as a spare part. Here's our DSI ribbon cable. Very tricky. You can also break one of these very easily. So be very careful with the DSI ribbon cable. This connects the 4.3-inch DSI monitor to the Raspberry Pi. So, and we're going to show you that. Just be very careful with it. And here's the back panel. So as you can see, you've got a component board attached to the back of it with various connectors. And here on the back, what you have is you've got your HDMI output. You've got 2 USB ports for like if you wanted to hook up an Xbox style controller to it, you could. You've got your power on, power off, and you've got your power input here for your power supply, and then you've got actually a joystick controller here on the back and 2 buttons. So the buttons are labeled 1 and 2, but I'm not sure if one of them takes on like A and B. And then you've got your audio volume. So this is kind of one of the last steps of the build. That's layer 3. All right, we have our bezel, plastic bezel here, and it is protected by shrink wrap or whatever you want to call it. You have to peel off before you put it in place. So we'll get to that. Here is our base. That's going to be one of the first things we do. Here's our coin door kick plate. Various cables, USB cables, extension cables, and audio cable. Here is our lithium battery. And here's our HDMI extension cable. And then the last couple of pieces are this is the bane of my existence, the top of the unit right here. Here's the marquee. It's blank because we don't have any artwork on it yet. And then this piece here is basically a support brace that goes in the middle of the cabinet. And that was the last layer in layer 4. We're done with the box. So now that we've got all the parts and pieces out, what I like to do at this point is I like to apply as much artwork as I possibly can. Before I get into the actual build, I like to do the artwork first, as much of it I can do. Before I do that, I want to look at something real quick. Don't mind me. I just want to verify something. I'm basically looking at the original track and field cabinet because I want to get an idea of what the front looks like. Okay. All right. So let's the artwork's a little different than the original, but it's not that far off. So I'm going to trim around the edges here. Now, again, there's differences between the way Joe Zabels prints his artwork and the way Escape Pod. They still look very nice, but Joe Zabels is much easier application. You don't even have to, with Joe Zabels, you don't even have to do this, what I'm doing now. You just lay it on there. Peel and lay. Speaking of spending money, I also bought a sound bar for my living room TV because I just think the sound could use some improvement. So I'm one of those people that haven't had a sound bar ever. I thought, well, a little bit of extra money. Let's add that. Okay, so what we want to do here is position this, and then we're going to use painter's tape to hold it in place while we apply it. So I'm going to line this up as best I can. And you got to kind of look past the leftover backing tape. I should have had the tape pre. Okay. All right, so we want to get this lined up as best we can. Stock Jock, that is very true. That's very accurate. That's a great way of putting it. So what I'm doing is that I'm applying a piece of painter's tape on either side in the middle. And then what I'm going to do is that's after you get it lined up. And here I already see that I I might be off a little bit. Not by much. But what you want to do is just lock it into place in the middle, and then you're going to peel half of it. These builds go a little longer because it takes a while to do the artwork. So you want to peel the artwork back, and then you want to cut away the backing paper. And then lay it back down. Stock Jock, you sent me that tool once, and I don't have it. Yeah, I'm a little off on it. It's not bad. Got to make sure you get that lined up to your tastes. It's not going to look bad. I'm just a little bit picky. All right, so then what you do, once you have one side of it down, and just kind of smooth out the bumps. This is where an edger or a smoother comes in handy. And really, with Joe Zabel's artwork, you don't have to worry about this, bubbles, but they do occur. Then you want to take the tape off. And then you're going to do the exact same thing. You're just going to flip it over and pull off the backing. Now, before I do that, I'm going to go find that tool that Stock Jock sent me. The smoothing tool. I should probably have it. Credit card will work too, but I'm not going to I'm not going to use my credit card. There we go. All right, so this little handy dandy tool here to help smooth out. And we're going to peel the backing on the other side. And we're just going to apply the artwork. Kind of going back and forth a little at a time until it's all the way into place. There we go. And then we have our first side panel skinned. All right. Side one down. Let's do the other side now. Yes, that Stock Jock guy is awfully nice. Hopefully I get to meet you someday. Okay. Yeah, I kind of like to get the artwork out, as much artwork as I can for the build out of the way first. So we're cutting away the excess backing paper. Taking care that you don't cut into the actual sticker, which if you go too quickly can happen. I had to actually confirm on my image that I have for these whether or not I had track and field on there, and I do. So I was pleasantly surprised about that. So getting the game to auto boot will be very easy. And once again, this is going to be a vertical monitor with a horizontal game. Robotron being the other game, GRS Build-A-Cade I have. That's a horizontal game. And there's not much you can do about that until Glenn makes his kit available widely for mounting a monitor horizontally in there. So you got to kind of live with the vertical monitor for now. We can talk about that stock jock, but I got to tell you now, I literally live in a hut, so it's a small house. Plus, you're not going to want to stay up here because I live 45 minutes away from the convention. So best you find a hotel right by the convention center, which there are a couple. It's very convenient. The gal and I are thinking about getting a hotel room for the next Pinball Expo and staying down there the weekend. Making a weekend of it. All right, so we've got our second control or second side panel. I keep wanting to say control panel. So let's peel that artwork and cut off the backing right away. And layer down. Oh, this is not going well. I don't have it lined up right. So here I got to be very delicate. I don't like the way this is laying down, so I'm going to make an adjustment. And this can happen when you're doing these artwork. Now, picture this on a larger scale. All right, so I'm going to adjust it a little bit. About as good as it's going to get. All right. Oh, Brookfield. Actually, the thing about that stock jock is, ironically, the Midwest Gaming Classic used to be in Brookfield, and would have been more convenient for you staying in Brookfield. It's only like 20 minutes away from Brookfield. All right, ready to lay down the other side here. Just kind of smoothing it out. And then there's our second second side panel. We have our side panels done. Okay, so what artwork can we do now? Let's look at the marquee. Now the marquee, the thing about the marquee is, I kind of wonder about escape. I'm going to line this up and see if it looks better. Because in previous things, pieces of artwork that I've gotten from him, from my escape pod, the graphic was a little bit larger than the GRS Build-A-Cade marquee. So this looks like it's kind of perfect. So you just kind of gently put it into place. A little bit of leftover, but it's not enough to have to trim off. I suppose if I was really picky, I could probably take a X-Acto knife to it, but I don't think I need to. So here's the marquee, all ready to go for the build. And let's see, control panel. So we're again using not this one, the trackball control panel. So we need shit. I'm looking at it upside down, that's why. So we need the second from the top. We need this one. All right, Stock Talk, you're all set then. Yeah, PD7 knows that area better than me because he lives there. He lives in that area. Oh, man, this is off a little bit. That's a bummer. That's a bummer. So, guys, the way that this trackball and 3-button piece is printed, the trackball is off a little bit. And oh, that's horrible. Well, bummer. So here's the problem, okay? I'm gonna bring it up closer to the camera. So this artwork does not, it fits over the 3 buttons in the player 1, player 2 start, but then the trackball is offset. And so you've got this huge bubble right here. So this isn't gonna work. I'm probably gonna have to stick with, let's see. Get out the 3-button. So I'm gonna look at just the 3-button with the joystick, even though I don't need the joystick. I want to see how the artwork looks on this. So escape pod, that's the first time I've had something from escape pod that's been an issue. It's really hard to get these out. All right. So let's take a look at the. Let's see how the 3 button lines up. See, this is a lot better. Yep. So we're going to have a joystick instead of a trackball. That's a bummer, but good news is I get to reuse this trackball control panel for something else down the line. And you know, I showed you the box for the 4 control panel kit. Those are sold separately, and I believe they're $79. But again, he's having that 20% off sale, so I'm pretty sure that's still going on. GI Joel, welcome. First of all, I did get the shipping notification about the label being printed for the build choice, and so that's coming. I'm really thankful to you for that. But yes, you could probably see it earlier in the stream, but so for the trackball controller, which is this, the artwork is misprinted. It's not correct. The buttons line up fine, but then the joystick or the trackball does not. So there's a printing issue with the trackball artwork piece. That's a shame, but it is what it is. So we'll deal. All right. So we're going with the joystick, but just, you know. Oh well. I think I got the Centipede artwork kit from Escape Pod. Yeah, I did. So that's got a trackball on it. So it's very odd that this one doesn't fit. So it's the issue with the track and field artwork. I'll go that far. But I've used him before for a lot of Build-A-Cades. Okay, so we've done the control panel. We don't need any more of the control panel art. So all we got to do is our kick plate panel. So we'll put this piece in first on the kick plate. And then we'll put, this is kind of a tough piece to do because you got to kind of center it over the, what I like to do is just start from the bottom, really. Get it really lined up really good. And then worry about the top. Yeah, it's not, even this piece is a little off. There's leftover. Because there's some that wrapped around under the lip of the, it's not going to be a big deal. You're not going to see it. But if you're picky about that, here's what I'm talking about. Okay, so I probably should have overhung this a little bit and then snipped it a little bit off, but then you run the risk of cutting off the red part here. What I've got happening here is there is leftover sticker here that folded onto the top underside of the kick plate piece. I've never, BMCA, I've never used soapy water. I've just slapped it on pretty much. One more piece of artwork to apply, and then we'll move into the build. This is for the monitor. And I'm trying to remember which part is the top. Let me look at a previous build. So for those of you that haven't seen, here's my Gorf. All right. I'm just verifying the bezel plate just to make sure I get it good. But this is my Gorf. And we're just, again, you have to kind of center it over the middle here. I'm hoping that this print is. Artwork is very, you got to be very careful with it. Especially this piece. Where you're centering it over a hole. There, that goes, that's pretty good. So here's my bezel artwork. And that's the bezel. Okay, and we're ready for the build. There's Gorf again, once again, for you folks that have never seen it. Gorf is my dream cabinet. If they came out with a 3/4 Gorf, that'd be a day -1 buy for me. I mean, I'd buy it before they even put it on sale. I want a Gorf so bad. That's the one real arcade I'd probably buy. And there's been a couple for sale here in my area for like $900. I should have bought it. But I could never pull the trigger because I don't want to maintain a huge arcade. You know, if something goes wrong with that thing, I got to bring somebody in to fix it. So anyway, let's begin the build. So here we have a nice instruction manual from GRS. I highly recommend following it. There are a couple of things I usually do out of order, but I think that's true of anything. Arcade 1-ups have some steps that I kind of do out of order. Yeah, Stock Jock, I agree. If G.I. Joe did a Gorf, I'd be all over it, just like Robotron. I think you and I have similar cabinet taste. All right, so we're going to get right into step 1 here, which is working with the base. That's this guy right here, and the pieces have arrows which indicate which part is the front. So what we need now first is we need the rubber feet, which is part number Q. Kind of an odd part number to use. And we got 19 people in the chat. Thank you so much for showing up today and spending some time with me. My streams are pretty much chill streams. just laid back, talking back and forth and getting a build done. So what I like to do, that's my niche. So we're putting the rubber feet onto the unit. Kind of hard because I'm shadowing the area that I need to see. But you just kind of get it as centered as you can. Hey, Goofy Foot, good to see you. Yes, please hit the like button and subscribe. Thank you, Biggie D. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, I do like seeing that number go up. I think when you hit 500 subscribers, you get to do super chats and memberships. And then when you hit 1,000, that's when you start getting ad revenue. So it'll be like decades before I hit 1,000, I think. So like so many of you, I do this for fun. All right, the rubber feet are on. Again, the arrow points to the front of the cabinet. We'll need the ball top here and he gives you extra parts and pieces in case you want to change the ball top. There's 2 different types of ball tops on there that he includes, and the one of them has 2. So if you lose one, I got so many GRS Build-A-Cade spare parts and pieces put away. Okay, so now we need to so the assembly instructions, we unpacked everything to step 1. Step 2, apply the artwork, which we've done. Step 3, rubber feet. And step 4, with the wire at the rear right, set the battery in place, which goes right here in the middle. The arrow pointing to the front here, this is the front, these are the sides, and this is the back. So it wants the battery wire to the rear right. So that would be this side. And it's illustrated pretty well in the documentation. So we need to take the battery cover here. This piece is going to hold down the battery into place, and you slide that over. Snaps. It kind of snaps. All that means is it's just in the right hole position, and then we need to attach 2 screws. So we need 2 M3x8 millimeter self-tapping screws. So we're gonna open up our parts. And that's actually part number S6. There we go. SKI Bammer's here. Good to see you. Welcome to the stream. And of course, these are all tiny screws. So I have my tiny screw kit right here. Very handy. All right, so I use these 2 screwdrivers. And we're just gonna screw down the battery strap. All right, so our battery strap is in place. That's step 4. Step 5 is to start assembling the monitor piece. So we're going to set, actually that's not tight. The battery's moving around a little bit. All right, that's better. Set that aside, and we're going to start putting the monitor assembly together. All right, so place it. We've already got our soft cloth or towel. So we need the screen. So we'll take it out of the all right. And we want to pull off the plastic protector. I got to be careful with this because last time I did a build, I ripped, which I'm about to do again. I ripped it has a little pull tape section on here. And I ripped the tape off and I left the plastic film behind. So I had to kind of use my fingernail to get it off. But this is not a problem. So this is our monitor. And then on the back of the monitor, just to give you a little illustration, you've got posts here for the various screws that we're going to use. And then here is your DSI ribbon cable connection. This is where it's going to be made to the monitor. So, okay, so place a clean soft cloth. We've already removed the protective film with the DSI connector positioned at the top. So here's our DSI connector. And we're going to attach the screen mount, which is this guy right here. It's not the bezel. If you look on the part, it's printed on the part, F2. So that's the part number we need. So we're going to attach this to the screen with 4 2.5 by 5 millimeter screws. That's S3. That would be this guy. And the part number F2 is on the left side. So we got to turn this over. So F2 is printed on the left side, my left side. We're going to slide this over the monitor. And then our 4 screws are going to go here, 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 and here. Use my smaller, because these are smaller screws. Use my smaller screwdriver. And these go in really easy. So it takes just a split second to do. I thought about streaming while I'm off. I'm off for a full 2 weeks now. So it's just going to be a staycation. My gal has to work. So I'm going to have a lot of free time. So guys want to play rounds of golf. Might be able to do that. Finally, meet with some people and play some VR golf. I've got all the courses. I bought all the courses, so I'm set. You guys could probably see it on, I have my TV monitor here running the fireplace for some ambiance, but this is my X-Arcade. And then this is where I play VR pinball, and I have a RetroPie box attached to it as well. Kind of excited to see what Glenn comes up with. All right, so we've got that attached. Now we're going to attach the bezel piece, which is our already skinned bezel piece. So that lays flat on the bottom, and then you basically position the monitor mount or assembly on top of it. There's 4 posts that you slide it on top of, and then you're going to get 4 2.3 by 6 millimeter screws. That's got to be this. Part S4. That would be these. Again, he does a good job documenting this entire process. I love my 4KP. I since I got that thing, I think I've logged in once, and since I haven't been in the arcade for a while, haven't had the arcade fired up for a while, Of course, you know what happens with that games. You have to wind up having to log back in, but I haven't had to do that on the 4KP a whole lot. I think I've only done it once, to tell you the truth. All right, so we're putting in our 4 2.3 by 6 screws. Okay. And there's our monitor assembly with bezel attached. All right, next we've got 10mm standoffs. So we've got a package of standoffs here. There's two types. There is a 10mm and a 20mm. We're going to do the shorter ones first. And there's 4 posts here on the back of the monitor that you're going to attach those to. And you can tell these apart. I mean, the longer ones are the 20mm and the shorter ones are the 10mm, obviously. So I go grab the 20mm. So we're only going to use the 10mm right here on the back of the monitor assembly. All right, so we've got the 10mm, that's step 7. We should read off the steps here, but. All right, step 8, here we go. Now we're dealing with the DSI cable. We're going to put the DSI cable, and I say this on every stream I do with these builds. When you're working with the DSI connector, you got to be careful with it because on my very first build, I broke it. And Glenn was so kind, he sent me a replacement. And he had to send me an entire monitor, so because this thing is soldered onto the board. So all you do is you lift up the black piece straight up on both sides, just slightly. So just be very gentle and just lift it up. Okay, so that means it's open. When it's down, it's closed. When it's up, it's open. All right, now the instructions tell you to gently lift up the latch, which we just did on the DSI connector, and insert the DSI ribbon cable, that's this guy, with the blue side facing towards the top. Well, here's the thing. It's not blue, it's black. So replace blue for black because on the DSI ribbon cable, it's black. That's not blue. All right, so the black side in this case would be facing the top, and you slide it into the port very gently. And then you push down on both sides of the latch to secure it. So we're going to do that. You can hear a little snap. And then I don't recommend this. Don't do it. But this just proves to you that it's locked into place. I'm lifting it up by the DSI ribbon cable. Probably just voided my warranty if there is one. I don't even know if there is one on these things. But that just proves that it's latched into place. All right. So that was step 8, putting the DSI ribbon cable. Okay, now now we're dealing with the Raspberry Pi. We're to the part where we need to break out our Raspberry Pi. And many of you, most of you anyway, have probably seen a Raspberry Pi before. This is your Raspberry Pi. It's a 3B Plus. I only use the 3B Plus because that's all I need for these Build-A-Cades. There's 4s and there's 5s now. So, but the 3B suits this purpose just fine. So what we need to do is we need to get our SD card extension cable. All right, and that's what it looks like fully extended. You got one end that goes into the Pi, and this end is going to be screwed into the back panel of the Build-A-Cade. So what we're going to do on the so just to illustrate some of the ports on the Pi, on the back side you have your SD card slot, and then on the front you've got your pin port for the ribbon cable. You've got your DSI connector here for where the other end of the DSI cable is going to go. You've got 4 USB ports and 1 Ethernet port, which we're not going to use, but it's there. You got your audio input or output port. You've got your HDMI output port, and you've got your power right here. So those are pretty much the ports that you're going to be dealing with. There's another DSI port here, which I'm not quite entirely certain what that one's for. But the one we're going to use for display is right here on the top of the Pi. So, we're going to go ahead and plug in one end of the DSI cable into the SD card port. Make sure I got this. I might be putting it in wrong. No, I had it right the first time. So you slide it in all the way on the Pi. And now we're going to secure the Pi to the screen using these 20mm, these larger standoffs. Steve Hammer, I've been to Kings Island many times. I'm from originally the Indianapolis area. We made several road trips down to Cincinnati. Heck, I was just in Dayton, further north, in September for a marathon there. All right, so we're gonna attach the Pi, and you have to be careful with this cable so it doesn't screw around with the DSI cable, monitor cable. All right, so we're going to screw the Pi down to the monitor assembly using the 20mm standoffs. Again, finger tight is fine. You don't need to take a pair of pliers to these things and tighten them really tight. Finger tight is great for these. All right, we're starting to take shape here. That's step 9. So we inserted the cable, and then we attached the Pi to the monitor assembly. All right, now the tricky part, okay? Now we're going to attach the other end of the DSI cable to the Raspberry Pi. And again, first of all, on the Raspberry Pi on the DSI connector, it's taped down. There's a piece of thin tape covering the top of it. So you're going to have to, it's a little thin orange piece of tape. So we're going to take that off and just throw it away. And then we're going to open up that DSI port again by gently pulling up on either side. And this one's tough. There we go. Now one side is being, there we go. You don't want to be too forceful because you'll break it. I know from experience. Okay, now here's where the tricky part comes, because you're going to have to guide the DSI ribbon cable over the SD card extension cable. So you kind of set the DSI cable off to pull it off to the side to get the DSI ribbon cable. Again, the black piece faces up away from you. So, and then we slide it in there. And then we press down on both sides of the black until it snaps. And again, if I were to do this, I can lift the Pi up and either end's not coming out of either connector. So my DSI ribbon cable is connected. And Bammer, that's one of the things we did when we were up in Dayton. We also went to the Air Force Museum. That place is amazing. That's where the marathon was. It was basically on the flight line of the Air Force Museum, and the start finish was. And the next day after the marathon, the gal and I actually went into the museum for a tour. It was amazing there. I recommend that place. I don't recommend the marathon. The marathon is boring as hell. I hate to say that about big races like this, but and there's very little shade. It was a very hot day that day. It killed me, it killed my run. And but the next day, the day at the Air Force Museum, oh, by all means, if you're going through Dayton, if you're passing through Dayton, go see the Air Force Museum. It's free, but they do take donations, which I gave them a generous donation. Now I'm on their mailing list. I got a calendar from them this year. So great place, awesome place to visit. My favorite part of that whole museum was the last hangar, which has got all the presidential aircraft in it. It was just awesome. Oh, I am so thirsty today. Okay. So that was step 10, connecting the DSI ribbon cable to the other side. Now we're going to start mounting cable. All right. So all the side mounted cables. So we need the power, the HDMI, and audio. So let's open up our cables. This is the HDMI. And you have to make sure you use, when you plug into these ports, that you use the right angled side of the cable where it can get confused. Oh, I didn't want to throw that away right away. We're gonna hold on to that. We might need it at the end. All right, so we need the power, which is W2. And there's two different power cords, one for the Pi 4 and one for the Pi 3. So W2 is the has a label. These all have labels on them, but this one says for Pi 3. So there's a power cable. I believe this is it. Yeah, this is for the Pi 4. So if you put in a Pi 4 in these things, you're going to have to use a separate power cable. We're not going to use that. So I'm going to set that aside. So again, this one only goes one way. So you've got your right angle connector here, and it's going to go here into power on the board. So slide that in. Okay, and the next is the HDMI, which is this guy. Again, another right angle plug. Plug that into the HDMI port. And your audio cable. That's another, this is where you can get confused because both ends are identical, except one of them is a right angle port, and you need the right angle for the audio. I made that mistake last time I built one of these. I confused the two ends, had to take it apart and redo it. All right, so that was step 11. We've got those three cables connected. So now what we need to do is step 12 is to attach the wiring harness. Oh, that's cool, Ski Bammer. That's cool. The Memphis Bell was pretty awesome. I got to admit that too. I took lots of pictures. I think I showed him on an earlier stream. So here's our main wiring harness. I'm going to loosen it up here. I'm actually going to undo the, there's a twist tie here. I'm going to take that off just to free up the cables so I can move them around as necessary. So these are all labeled really well, what they're used for. Well, the ones that have specific connectors aren't really labeled, but the up near the top, you've got labels on the pin side that tell you what they're for. And it also has a label for pin 40, and that's important because we're going to apply this. Step 12 has us apply this with pin 4 at the bottom right of the header. And if you look at the documentation, and I'll hold it up for you, pin 40 is down towards the USB ports. So just that tells you how the proper orientation. So you look for pin 40 on here, which is the purple cable on this particular wiring harness, and then that goes towards the USB ports. And then you just slide it into place and snap it down. You got to be very gentle with this. And you got to make sure you get it all the way down. All right. So our wiring harness is in place, and this is starting to look like a Frankenstein mess, right? I mean, this will. Oh, interesting. I'd go back to the Air Force Museum to see that. I'd love to see that plane. I love that place, though. I'd go back and see just the museum if we're happen to go that way. I go to Indianapolis several times a year because I'm a photographer at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So I go there several times a year. Going to Dayton from Indianapolis is what, an hour, hour and a half away. So be an easy side trip for me, I think. Day trip. Okay, so we've got step 12 done, which was attaching the wiring harness. Now we're going to start building, putting this thing together. We've got our monitor Frankenstein mess here. We need side A. And again, as I said at the beginning, these are labeled. This is side A. And we're going to lay the monitor assembly down. I should really do this in the opposite direction so you guys can kind of see. See, and the nice thing about these 3D or these plastic printed parts is that they just snap into place. This unit is very well designed as far as putting components together. So the bezel is in place. That's step 13. Oh, shit. Did I just... Guys, I did this once before. There's a thin film of plastic on the marquee, and I've already put the artwork on there. I'm not going to mess with this artwork. All right, I'm going to leave it. There's a plastic film on there that I neglected to take off. That's a part of step 14. I'm just going to leave it in place because if I try to lift this off, I'm going to pull the plastic protective film off. So it's probably going to darken the marquee a little bit, but it is what it is. Nice. All right, so let's put the marquee into place. We need the two pieces that hold the marquee together. And there's holes on either end of these, and they just drop right into place. And then you slide the marquee in. So you got your two pieces on either side, top to bottom. You have to get them orientated correctly. And then it kind of just holds the marquee into place there. All right, now we're going to do the control panel. There is a specific cable for the control panel. And again, the control panel just kind of sits nice and neat. There's a little slot that it slides into. So we've got our control panel in, but we need to attach that cable. And there's only, these are different cable connectors here. So there's only one that it'll go into the control panel. There. So now we've got our wiring for the control panel in. That's step 15. And now we're ready to set the kick plate in, the coin door and kick plate. And this is starting to take shape. Okay. That's step 16. Okay, now we're ready for the acrylic bezel. Which is this piece, and it has a protective film on either side. Trying not to get my smudgy fingers on it. And you kind of slide this into place in the notches between the control panel and the bezel. It just kind of slides right into place. All right, that's step 17. And now we're ready for the right side. And this should snap right into place. This is hard to do. I'm doing this in reverse, so. And why are we not feeding properly? I need to turn this around so I can see it. I also need to get my headlamp out. Guys, headlamps are an invaluable tool when you're working in kind of dark spaces. There we go. There we go. So the side panel is on. So far, so good, Devastator. All right. Now, those of you that have seen previous builds, we're on the step now that Stock Jock is taking bets on. Okay. Now, here's why I think I ran into trouble with that piece so much. I deviated from the instructions. For me, it made more sense to put the base in and stabilize it than to do and then do the top than it did the reverse. The instructions have you do the top first and then the base. What I was finding what I discovered last time I built one of these is I put the I decided I'm going to follow the instructions. I'm going to put the top in first, and guess what? It went in super easy. If you go back and watch my previous builds, you'll see how frustrating it got for me. Stock Jock's laughing at me, and he says 5.8 minutes, but we're going to follow the instructions. So step 17 or step 18, it was to put the right side on. We did that. And so now step 19 is to put the top in. So we're going to align the top. The there's an arrow on here, so that indicates the front. And then we're just going to slide it into place. I really disappointed Stockjack last time because this went in right away and super easy. Not going to be easy this time, though. He says 5.8 minutes. So here's the problem. You get this gap here, and it's gone in crooked. So I need to pull it out a little bit more. Come on, baby. Oh, last time it went in really quick. Come on. Gotta kind of work it. I'm sure I'm doing Glenn no favors by doing this live because you can tell that that top piece, it can be frustrating. All right, let's start over. Well, I don't know why I struggle with this. Well, apparently the bottom piece had nothing to do with it. I just got lucky last time. Oh, I really hate this piece. Well, you look at me in my last video building one of these, man. I was so happy this thing snapped right in. That's not right. That's not how it goes. I'm trying to twist the marquee a little bit, but that's not doing it. There we go. Boom. You just got to work at it to get that top piece in. Man, it's difficult, I swear. That's the most challenging part of one of these builds is that top piece. I swear, it really is. All right, so the top is in. Step 19 complete. Booyah. Step 20 is to put the bottom in. All right, so the cable's at the back. So we're going to slide that in. And there's an arrow on here as well, so just you can't put it in the wrong way. Oh, yes you can, because I just tried to. And that just slides into place. Boom. Oh, well, that's not. Now the bottom's not going to give me issues, I hope. There we go. No, it's in. All right. So our cabinet is in one piece. Here, drink of water here. You're funny, Stock Doc. All right. So that was 20. And now we're going to do the 2-pin. So we have our marquee light. So there's a 2-pin connector on this wiring harness that we need to find, which is right here. Here's your 2-pin connector. And we're going to run it through the bottom of this plate. And then we're going to slide it into the top the marquee light goes into the almost to the top. It's kind of like 3/4 of the way in. You just kind of slide it in. Actually, no, we need to connect the cable. Let's connect the cable. So you're connecting the harness to the LED light, so the light has power. And then you slide it in. Of course, it's going to give me a hard time. There it goes. All right, so the wiring harness is in. The LED marquee light is in. All right, so that was step 21, was getting the LED light in. Step 22 is to move all the wiring aside towards the top of the cabinet. And then we're going to insert the center brace. That's this piece. And again, another arrow on it. And you just slide that center brace in all the way in. There. You got to snap it into place. All right, so the center brace is in. Step 22. And now we need to insert our USB extension. So these two right-angled ends of the USB need to plug into the Raspberry Pi. I use the bottom two ports for that purpose. And I'll try to show you this. All right, so on the unit itself, you see this is the Raspberry Pi, but here's the two USBs. There's four USB ports. So I use the two bottom ones here, just easier. And you plug those ports into those two. And all that does is it combines it into this connector, and that's going to go into the back panel. Hey, Michael Voltrades, welcome. Molt, good to see you. All right. So the USB extension is done. That's step 23. Step 24, attach the 8-bit connector from the wiring harness to the coin door. So we need to attach, here's what we need to do. You need to run that connector for the wiring for the coin door. Where's the coin door? Here it is. All right. So we need to find this connector on the wiring harness. Which is right here. Here it is. This is going to feed through the front of the cabinet, through the kick plate. Right there. All right. So you're going to attach the control panel cable to it. All right. Now, here's where it gets tricky. You got to pull out this audio jack. What looks like a handle on this coin door is actually a cover. It's a rubber cover for there's an audio jack here. You can actually jack in an external audio source, or not source, an external audio output to this. Haven't really done it myself, but you need to pull it out all the way. So this little rubber piece here isn't interfering in this snapping into place. So I just kind of gently pull at it. If you break it, there's a spare that comes with it that you can use. So you want to set the coin door in bottom first and kind of push it back, and then it snaps into place. Just make sure you're not pinching that rubber piece. There. And magically, and what happens a lot with these builds is the left button sticks. This one isn't sticking, so I got lucky with this one. That's good. And then you just put the rubber cover back into place over the audio. All right, so the coin door is in. That was step 25. Now we're going to get into attaching the back panel. So here we have our cabinet. It's coming together really nice. The artwork looks great. So now we got to start attaching this mess of cables to the back panel. Okay, we're going to start with the MicroSD card connector, which is this piece. So that's going to screw in right here. It only goes one way. So we're going to set it in roughly. It's going to pop up, but that's fine. And we need two 2.3 by 6 millimeter screws, the S4 screws. I believe that's these. Hope it's these. Yeah. All right. So now this is where the tricky part comes, because you gotta if you got big fingers, this is kind of difficult. I'm going to turn on my light just to help. And I lost the screw. So it's very tricky. Oh, lost the screw again. All right. So you just want to kind of guide it in there and get it down really quick. And being careful that you're not crimping or damaging or otherwise messing up the ribbon cable, because they do get screwed up, and you can buy the spare part. All right, so the SD card is connected. Now I can pop an SD card in there. All right, so that's connected. That was step 26. Step 27, we're going to attach the HDMI cable. And that's using 3x8 S5 screws. These are the larger screws. It's the screw that uses to attach the backplane to the cabinet. And that's from the back side. So here's our HDMI cable. I want to make sure it's oriented. You can only go in one way because it's got to fit the hole. So it goes in through the back, but you screw it from the back. So you want to get your larger of the smaller screwdrivers and just screw that into place. All right. So 2 cable connections made. And I realize from here on out, it's probably going to get a little difficult to see. Maybe I can adjust the camera a little bit so you can see better. Let's do that. Yeah, that's as far as I'm going to get with it. I'll try and illustrate it as best I can. All right, so step 27 done. We've got the HDMI cable into place. Now we want to plug the audio cable into the audio jack. That's step 28. And here's our, you just locate your audio, other end of your audio cable from the Raspberry Pi. And that's going to go into this jack right here, which is audio in, and it's labeled on the board on the back plane. You just kind of pop that into place right here. Right here. All right. Now we're gonna do several connections here. We're gonna do step 29 is to plug the USB power cable, main wiring harness, and the USB extension into the back panel circuit board. All right. So let's start with the USB power cable. This is labeled W2. It's the Pi 3 power cable. That's going to go right here into the only USB port on the back plane here, and it's labeled power out. And you just plug that right in. Okay, now we want the main wiring harness cable, which is a black. This is this black connector here. I kind of want to. I'm going to change the routing of the cable here. And bring this up and wrap the USB cable, power cable. Just routing the cables a little bit different. So here's our main wiring harness cable. Only goes in one way because there's a notch on it. It goes to the top of the board here. And it's your I/O port, basically. Snaps right in there. All right. And what was the other thing? The USB extension. All right. So those 2 USB cables that we plugged into the Pi, it has that one end. We need to locate the other end of that cable. Now, this is the power cable. So here's the extension. This is power. Here's the USB extension cable. And there are two connectors at the bottom of the back plane. One is for USB extension, which is this guy, and they're two different sizes, so they only fit a certain way. Okay, and the last thing is we're going to plug in the battery. Okay, the last port. But the one thing the documentation wants you to make sure is that the unit is turned off. It's turned off. So we make sure it's turned off. And we make this last cable connection here. All right. Now is the fun part. Now we get to mash this all together. And the only thing I would really stress you got to be careful how you mash these wires in to begin with, but you really have to pay attention to the DSI ribbon cable and the SD card ribbon cable, because you don't want to crimp those. And you just kind of carefully push it together. And then you've got your S5 part here, the screws, 3 by 8 millimeters, and you're just going to screw those down. From start to finish, you could probably have one of these done in an hour to an hour and a half. I realize my streams go longer, but I take plenty of time. Now, a normal person would probably test everything to make sure, turn the unit on and make sure that there's no issues, but I'm not normal. I like to put the thing together and then fire it up. 9 times out of 10, it's going to be fine. I think only 1 or 2 cases I've had to take it apart again and figure out what I did wrong. Okay, so here's our unit. I'm going to grab a different power cable than I brought a USB cable. I need an actual brick for my setup here. So I've got a box over here in the back in my parts storage area. The question is, which box is it? Over here. These are... Nope, I don't need those. Here we go. That's the bin I need. Oh, I have to put the ball top. That's the piece de resistance. Okay, I've got a red. We turn this around and I show it to you. I've got the power connected. It's red. That's good. That means it's charging. Okay. I'm still trying to figure out power here. Bear with me. So we're going to put the we're going to put a dust cover and a ball top on it. Let's figure out which way this goes. Goes that way. All right. I'm going to turn off the lights here. I do need to get my SD card. I have an SD card image. Now, folks, this is going to boot up into Miss Pac-Man, and you want to know why? Because it was the very first one I did, and I imaged off that. So we have our SD card here. I'm just going to stick it in the back. And let's boot this puppy up. See what happens. Should get Glenn's logo here. Yep. And should go right into Miss Pac-Man, which will fit. All right, that's fine. We'll fix that. Try to adjust my camera a little bit. A little darker than I want it to be. Yeah, the marquee looks a little suppressed, and that's because I forgot to take that film off. That's my fault. That's all right. It still looks really good. All right, so what we need to do is we need to back out of this game, which you do by pressing the first coin door and the A button simultaneously. Actually, no. It's the first coin door and the player one start. All right, we get to the menu here. And we want to go down to options, I guess. Yeah. And we want to look for an option, show IP. So this is basically giving me the IP address on my local network, 1.72. All right, now we're going to move back over to the desk. Okay, so I need to navigate to using Windows Explorer. And I'm going to share. I do this every time I do this. So let's. All right. So let's navigate to. You just whack out to it. Those of you familiar with whacking. 168. One dot. I believe it said 71. Let me double check. One dot 72. Okay. Glad I checked. All right, first thing it's going to do, and it's doing that now. You guys aren't seeing this, but it challenges you for credentials to log into the Raspberry Pi. And it's the default password, and I always forget this. Default RetroPie user and password Pi and Raspberry. So username is PI, password is Raspberry. All right, boom. So now this is the file system. I'm actually on my laptop, on my streaming station, connected to the Raspberry Pi. Now, what I need to change is I need to change the ROM that auto starts. So that's under config, and no, it's been a while since I did this. I need to go, maybe it's under all. Yep. So there's a file called autostart.sh. Let's edit that. Right click, and then edit in Notepad. Okay, I'm going to have to reshare out the screen. Let's replace screen sharing, say, share that out. All right, so this is the command, and you can see why it auto starts in the Miss Pac-Man, because that's what's there. So what we need to do is we need to figure out the ROM name for track and field, which I will pull from the ROMs directory. Track FLD. So we'll change this. So basically this is for those of you from the old MS-DOS way of doing things, it had an autoexec.bat. This is an autostart.sh. It basically tells the OS on the Pi what to start into. Once the main OS is started up, it reads this script and says, okay, now I want you to start this. So that's all this command does. It runs the particular ROM that you specify here. And we'll save this out and exit. Okay. All right. Let's go back to the camera view. Not that. Let's go full screen on the cell phone. There we go. All right. So we should be able to restart this, and it'll come right in. So let's do that. All right. So I'm going to go back into the emulation station menu, and I'm just going to say restart system. And here we go. Now we should see. Got our Glenn. And there we go. Boom. I'm going to darken the image here so you guys can see the screen better. So let's coin in. Oh, coin in from the coin door. There we go. Put our initials in. There we go. The left and right button should be the run. Plays pretty well. Actually, I might be playing better than on my X-Arcade. Here's where it might get tricky. Yeah, see, I got to get used to. I suck at this game to begin with. But the nice thing is now I have another addition to my display with a track mode. I went too high. Too high of an angle. Went over, foul. See if I can do better on the javelin this time. Foul. Nope. Gonna take some getting used to. I'm also playing very awkwardly here. I'm on my knees basically. But that's it. That's the build. Turn on my lights here. There she is, folks. There she is. Oh, crap. You guys, I didn't realize I didn't have the frickin' right screen up. I'm sorry about that, guys. Damn it. Let's try it again since I didn't have the proper screen up on the stream. That was just dumb. So you guys probably didn't get to see it boots right into the track and field game. Let's do that. We'll do a quit and a restart system. Yes. All right. So now you'll get to see it. I'm sorry. I didn't realize I didn't have the right screen up. Still a rookie at this streaming stuff, even though it's been a year. We'll do a game, then I'll call it. But you see, it's going to load up the ROM that we specified in autostart.sh. Okay, again, we've got a horizontal game on a vertical screen. That's fine. This is a display piece, a playable display piece. So we're going to coin in by pressing one of the coin door buttons. And then we'll press player one start. And then we'll navigate around to put our initials in. All right. See if I suck this time. Oh, got beat. Yeah, the audio's all the way up. I realize you probably can't hear any of it. Barely. Nope. A little bit off. I need more speed too. Nope. Merry Christmas, Mike Hawkhurst. Good to see you. Ooh, that's a foul. Oh, no. Holy crap, I made it. Barely. Now we're going to get to see the javelin. I'm going to suck at this too. Too soon. Not quite. Foul. Damn it. Too soon. Yeah. Oh, well. Pop the lights back on here. There she is, folks. There we go. Beautiful artwork on the cabinet. I'm not too crazy about the control panel art, but it is what it is. It's not labeled. Like, I mean, I kind of get why he did that, but so another Build-A-Cade build is in the book. Yeah. And plus it's got a track mode going. So once I add it to my display here, and turn the audio up on rest, it's going to add to the ambiance of the arcade, you know, because you've got that a track mode audio coming through. So a fine addition to my arcade. And another Build-A-Cade in the books. I believe this is my 12th one. Let me count the GRS. I got Gorf. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, So this is my 12th Build-A-Cade build on the channel. So I'm pretty sure I did a video on our stream on all of them. And maybe not. I might not have did one for the first one, which was Miss Pac-Man. But oh yeah, fun. I love building these things, and it's just a fun little project to do even during the winter months, really. Okay. Oh, BMCA. That's a good question. All right. So let's take the big daddy here, Burger Time. And I'll bring it over here. And I'll have to pull the camera back. There you go. There's your comparison. So that's your 1/6 scale Build-A-Cade with your quarter scale Burger Time right there. So, you know, Goofy Foot kind of nails it. It's really no comparison. They're two different sizes. My display here, I kind of have it all my 1/6 scale on the lower two shelves, and the quarter scale arcades I have on the upper shelves. So yeah, the Burger Time, they were running a deal for a while. I don't think they are now, but I think you could still get it on what's that site? Woot, Woot. I believe there's a. Let me see if I can find it. Just looking up on Woot. Oh, they're sold out. So it's sold out on Woot now. Woot, even though the $99 on Amazon went away, even though the $99 on Amazon went away, Woot still had it for like 115, 120 bucks. So a lot of people took advantage of that while that deal happened. Let me look on Amazon and see what the quarter arcades are like now. Okay, so let's see. Bubble Bobble 249, Burger Time's up to 200, 199.99. This is Elevator Action 250. Kicks is up to 252. Space Invaders 279. Space Invaders 263. Yeah, they're all up now. The only one thing that, well, Zookeeper's at 207. So they're all pretty much up there. Sir Sega, I don't think it's on Woot anymore. I just I was on that page. And it said sold out. Yeah, when I pull up Burger Time on Woot. Huh, that's interesting. I don't know why it shows available to you and not for me. Let me try it on my other browser profile. I have two profiles running, so let's see. Nope. So it must be region. It must be region related because it's not showing as in stock to me. It's showing as sold out. Oh well, if you can get it, I highly recommend getting it. Okay, Mike Hawker, that's good to know. All right, folks. We're now almost 3 hours into the stream, 2 hours 45 minutes. I'm going to call it. I'm going to go spend the rest of my day doing other arcade related stuff. And, but I appreciate everybody showing up for the stream today. I hope you had a good time hanging out with me and watch me build another GRS Build-A-Cade. Great product, highly recommend it. Once you get all the parts and pieces in, build one yourself. I think you'll love it. And but you know, as I said, I'm off for the next 2 weeks. You might see me pop on for a live stream here and there during the course of the next 2 weeks. But if I don't see you before Christmas, I want you all to have a Merry Christmas. And I plan on being here next weekend, so I'll see you then. But have a great Christmas holiday. I hope you get lots of cool stuff for presents and a lot of stuff for your home arcades. And if I don't see you during the week, I'll see you next weekend for another fine build or something we'll play with. Have a great week, a safe week, and always remember, I got to get set up for this. I got to get set up for this. Always remember, see, I'm not set. Always remember, I got next.